All right, well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is John Tiliakis. I'm the Executive Vice President of Operations and Customer Service here at Tampa International Airport. And I'd like to give you an update on last night's outage and what TECO is doing about it. First, let me say to you that our operation has been restored. Operations have returned to normal overnight, but there are still extensive repairs that continue by the team at TECO. To our travelers and our guests, this is a very rare event, has never happened in our 50-plus year history. What happened last night was completely unacceptable, and we are going to take the necessary steps to make sure it doesn't happen again. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Drew Sirianni with TECO. Drew?
Thank you, John. Drew Sirianni with Tampa Electric. I'm the account manager for the airport, which means I'm the single point of contact for all events, not just with power quality, but with construction and maintenance and so forth. And I echo what John said. This is a rarity. In the 15 years I've been their account manager, we haven't had this event occur. With that, as a company, we definitely appreciate and understand the struggles that does for the customers of the airport. Vacations, travel plans, everything gets impacted. That's why, for years, the power quality here at the airport's just been paramount for our company. With that being said, obviously when an event like this occurs, an army gets into place. From last night when this first started, shortly after 9:30, we had crews in place to investigate what happened. Our first job is to make sure that everything is safe and in place at that time, to make sure there's no injuries, no concerns of any future problems. Once crews determine the issues, then the assessment of restoration begins. We had the two airsides that were impacted, airside A and airside F. We were able to restore power to airside A pretty quickly. That was a simple fix on a piece of equipment. The airport's designed with a redundant feed. In other words, this isn't a case of if a power outage occurs, the airport's out of service and we go fix that problem. The redundancy is in place so that if there is an outage anywhere on the loop of the airport system, that an alternate feed will come into place and restore power. Unfortunately, what typically happens did not last night. That's why, like John had mentioned, in the 50 years of the airport, we haven't seen this. So as a company, we take that very seriously and find out why. Going back to last night's event, we restored airside A, and that was, not to say a minor fix, but a quick fix. The airside F situation is different, and that's a situation where we have to actually repair a large piece of equipment and replace it, and also replace some cabling. So that job to complete will be about a 7-hour to 8-hour workaround. Obviously, we want to get it done as soon as possible, get it done safely, and to make sure the services back at the airport are up to where they should be. Again, it's a rarity for us, but to say we're going to have an army in place tonight would be a bit of an understatement. We've already got crews in place, we've got equipment in place, we're ready to go, and barring any issues, looking at weather plans, I think we're in good shape to restore everything mid-morning by tomorrow. Not sure if we have any questions at that point, if I could share mine. So the initial investigation we found is weather-related. In other words, a piece of equipment, obviously it could just fail, but we're looking at a weather-related event from yesterday afternoon. I know we had some storms in the area, whether it be lightning or water intrusion, we're just not sure yet. So until we know for certain, we're just going to still keep our investigations. As far as the outage, it was A and F. So I actually get one of the initial calls from the airport, being their account manager, but we have other triggers that fall into place that we're alerted to the outage. Our initial investigation found that on site, once we knew the 2 locations that were out of service, our crews go to each of those locations. In other words, we'll find out through our mapping system, well, where is there a fault? Where is the power stopping? And that's what directed us to these 2 pieces of gear at each of the air sides. So it's, it's not by luck or by chance. The crew that works at the airport, they work out here every week. I mean, we have a weekly construction and maintenance meeting for airport services. So it's a system we know well. It's a system that we have upgraded recently to make sure that that loop, that continuous redundant feed is in place. So that, as far as the discovery, once that's discovered, then the dominoes happen where crews assess, making sure everything is safe, and then repairs and the schedule to repair are in place. And that's why this afternoon at 6 p.m. is when we're going to have an army of folks making those repairs.
For travelers today and tomorrow going forward, as these repairs are being done, will it basically seem to them like business as usual?
So I know the airport has made contingencies.
Yeah, so let me just add a couple of clarifications on what Drew shared. So the power outage tonight is a scheduled power outage to effect the necessary repairs that need to take place at Airside F. And then in terms of the impact as a result of the power outage yesterday, we lost power here in the main terminal, and we lost power at all 4 of our airsides. However, power quickly returned to the main terminal and returned to all of our airsides, with the exception of airsides A and airside F. In terms of contingencies, I will tell you that we're working closely with the airlines on airside F today. We've been able to reposition some flights on alternative airsides. We've worked closely with U.S. Customs and Border Protection to arrange for alternative measures to screen, to process our international arriving passengers. As you all know, all of our international arrivals come into airside F, so we're working closely with U.S. Customs to make sure that our travelers that are arriving and departing from airside F it's as seamless as possible for them today. Well, our biggest concern when we lose power to that magnitude, our biggest concern is the safety of the operation. We had passengers that are in elevators, on shuttles, on our Sky Connect train, on escalators, and of course making sure that the first order priority is making sure that passengers, our travelers, our guests, our employees are safe, and then partnering with TECO as we've been doing to make sure that we get to the bottom of what exactly happened, and then getting the airport back up and running as quickly and as safely as possible.
Now, for people who are traveling today, I know there's that scheduled power outage. Just what can they expect? What can you tell them if they're flying out tonight?
Yeah, so passengers that are flying out today from airside F, they will have been informed that their flight may be departing from airside E. And we've communicated with all of the airlines so that they can pass the word along to their travelers on what to expect later today. But as I said, we expect our passengers' experience to be pretty seamless when they depart later today. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Yes, there is a scheduled power outage tonight, which will run about 7 hours, and that's the time that TECO tells us they need to effect the permanent repairs to the switchgear.
But no one will be at airside F when that outage happens?
We expect we'll have very few passengers that will be departing from airside F around the time that the outage happens, but for the most part, they'll all be gone. Correct. The outage tonight is only, just to stress that, the outage tonight is only for airside F. All of our other airsides, our other 3 airsides, are operating perfectly normal. It's 6 p.m. Scheduled start at 6 p.m. And as I said, it's about a 7-hour project tonight.
Emphasize again just the importance of the work that you guys are doing to make sure something like last night doesn't happen again.
You want to take that?
Sure, I can talk to that. Again, so I've had the airport as my account for 15 years, and what that means is this. Typically for a customer, a standard customer, we may do a normal inspection process and look at their gears and equipment. At the airport, it's a weekly meeting that we have. It's a weekly review of this system. And that's why a few years ago, when we created our loop redundancy system. If we lose a piece of equipment that serves power to the airport, that can be picked up 360. So that's why this event, in the years that the airport's been functioning, is just so uncommon.
Drew, have you been out to the site? Have you had to tell what it looks like?
I've not, but internally we get relayed photos and videos of the situation, and it's it's a very wiry and cabled configuration in the ground, and that cabling feeds into what we call switch gear. People would typically see what we have, our green boxes outside of buildings. That's what it looks like. So probably externally it would seem probably inconspicuous. The work we're going to be doing is truly underground, and that's where the repair and replacement is going to occur. Surprisingly, based on the effects, you would think there would be something more dramatic, but there just isn't. Again, it's underground cable, so what occurred underground is underground.
Just to be clear, the redundancy, I guess, worked when everything else came back on except for A.
That's why, John, I've explained, the other air sites did see an outage, but what that was power to those services switched to its alternate feeds. So those gears at those air sides functioned. And for whatever reason, of which we're going to find out definitely when we're all through, why these two pieces of equipment did not.
Now, for people who aren't airside out in the area here tonight, were they going to see complete darkness or?
So based on some backup generation, I believe there's some life services. John, you may be able to speak more to that.
Yeah, we have standby lighting at Airside F, but as I said earlier, by the time TECO is ready to begin their work tonight, we will largely be done on Airside F, and that's why we've scheduled it at that time. And let me just, unless there are other questions, let me just end with this. We appreciate the support we have with TECO. We have a long-standing partnership with TECO, and we're confident they'll get to the bottom of this and get it remedied so we never have this happen again.